Hello everybody, it's Jennifer McCreath. Today is January 1st, 2015, 12:08 a.m. Wow, how'd that happen? We're here. Yes. I have a lovely Christmas tree. Let's show that off. Great way to start the new year. And look at that, a clean floor, a carpet space. It's been a banner year for me. Cleaned up my act here, literally. A clean apartment. Fuck. I just swore on my video, didn't I? Oh well, what can you do? This is my infamous year in review video, which I somehow didn't really do last year. Oh well. The exciting thing is there's a lot of me on YouTube. There's a lot of me on my blog. So if people care about how my year went, I'm sure they can figure it out. But I think it's worthwhile turning on my camera tonight. Talk a little bit about banner year, 2014. In some ways it was the worst year of my life. In other ways it was the best year in my life. It all sort of started, ironically enough, in the final third of the year. Physically and emotionally unable to handle the stress I was dealing with. I made some major changes in life with the support of my doctor, and the good news is that I'm well on my way to mending my life. Taken up running. 3 years to heal this ligament in my right ankle. I'm finally able to run on it. And running I did do. 307 kilometers on the year. But only 40 of them were in the first half. And only 65 were in the first 8.5. So in a matter of 14, 15 weeks, I have dropped 27 pounds. And I have most recently here in December had the best running month I've had in almost 2 years. And this is the first calendar year since I started hormone therapy that I've been able to actually have a net weight loss in the year. Year after year I kept gaining weight. Even back in 2008 I was running, but I was a running elite level. 2009 I bought this very hat and ran the Boston Marathon for the first of 2 times. It's been over 3 years since I last ran a marathon. Unbelievably though, it's on the radar again for 2015. I'm well on my way to getting back in shape, and as tough as it is to do it post-transition, shall we say, and being the age of 41, having so many tendons, ligaments, bones, muscles that have been beaten and torn and wrecked from years of running, years of playing tennis, years of being overweight. I'm excited to know that I'm going to be back running, and there will be marathons in 2015, barring any other major injury. I'm really, really looking forward to getting back to being an active marathon runner, because that's who I am and what I do, first and foremost. So yeah, running. We're getting there. Health and fitness, healthy eating. Really excited about the progress. What else do we do in 2014? Well, we said we were going to leave Newfoundland. Guess what? We're still here. Oh well. Maybe we'll leave this year, maybe we won't. Ultimately, I don't think you can really live your life goals based on where you live. Ultimately, it's about finding a balance, having a good quality of life. Quality employment is important if you want to pay your bills, and consider myself fortunate each and every day that I can afford to have a place to live and put food on my table and my shelves. in the refrigerator that needs to be defrosted. A lot of people can't do that. Seems every year I keep saying, oh, we're going to scale back the activism and focus more on other things, but it's been a pivotal year, and I guess my primary label that people know me as is the trans person and the trans activist, and I guess I'm kind of one of the elder statespeople now. I've been around for quite a while and doing trans activism for a long time, to the point where I can now, the name Jennifer McCreath means something, and there's been ups and downs with how I'm perceived and how I'm accepted here in my hometown of St. John's, Newfoundland, but I put the ultimate Jennifer McCreath label through the litmus test of touring Eastern Canada. I boldly put that name on tours, and I crossed this province as well as 3 others, and I organized trans activism and education events in 4 capital cities, 4 provinces, as well as several other smaller towns and communities. And let me tell you, folks, it went off very well. Let's go through the list here, which I've got. Above and beyond the trans concept is the overall LGBTQ movement known as Pride Week. And one of the highlights of the year was making sure that the town of Grand Falls, Windsor, Newfoundland had a Pride Week. After having Pride events in previous years, the key organizers had left town, which led me to step up to the plate and reach out and put together what turned out to be an amazing event, attended by 75 people, which is great for a town of 5,000, including a federal member of parliament, reps from local PFLAG chapter, and co-hosted by the Women's Centre. That same day, I attended Gander, Newfoundland Town Hall to raise a rainbow flag there, I believe for the first time, and basically was treated like a rock star. When was that? I got the date written down here. It was July 15th. Somewhat of a reconciliation with St. John's Pride this year, the organization that I had previously left on bad terms. Was welcomed back on the same page, speaking at one of their flag raising events and speaking at their educational conference. Earlier that month, as I talked about the trans specific events at provincial legislative buildings, started right here at St. John's Federation Building on July 14th. A trans rally. We're looking for human rights. We're looking for better health care. We're looking for availability to change identification documents. And we took this tour to Halifax, Charlottetown, and Fredericton. For the most part, got amazing media coverage, radio, television, newspaper. Trans activists came out, told their stories, made their signs, and probably the highlight was my first appearance in Prince Edward Island in 26 years. With my good friend Trina Conrad. I think we did 6 events in 12 hours, but they were amazing, including special guest appearances at Charlottetown Pride, winning the Charlottetown Pride Coffee House LGBT Trivia Contest, and delivering an amazing trans rights rally in front of, I think it is called Province House, attended by close to 100 people, which featured people from Newfoundland recognizing me in PEI. Summerside, PEI. I guess that's the second biggest town in that island. Reached out and met some local LGBT activists there and made some good connections. a week later, I was back visiting Scottsboro, Nova Scotia, where there's been an annual trans camping trip. First time, I think, in 4 years that I made it there. Um, Unbelievable to see so many trans people together in one place, just having a good time, enjoying life. Um, Met up with the Moncton, New Brunswick trans community. I believe it was on a Friday night. Still got, in the summer, still got 25 people into a boardroom to have a real serious talk about trans issues and trans services. And it's great to see so many uh, leaders evolving in the trans community in Moncton. New Brunswick's kind of in last place, and New Brunswick treats trans people worse than any other province in Canada in terms of government services and rights and all that. But community stepping up to the plate, they're putting the resources together. Um, Same with Fredericton. Yeah, a great turnout at that event there. And where else? We also hit the road in November. Did a trans speaking engagement at Mount Allison University in New Brunswick. Actually did, whenever students reach out to me and say, I want to do a project on you or on trans issues, I always say yes. And it was an honor to have students from 4 major universities, St. Mary's, Dalhousie, Mount Allison, and Memorial, reach out to me this past year for projects. And it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad to have taken part. November, I want to do something for Trans Day of Remembrance, and since I was on my way to Mount Allison, I parlayed that into a little tour with Trina. We hit Halifax, Truro, Pictou, Sackville, New Brunswick, Spring Hill, Nova Scotia, and Stewiacke, Nova Scotia. Doing the trans education and awareness piece, filming videos, talking to locals, raising the issues. Met up with another trans Nova Scotian, Ash McDonald, and had a tremendous tour with Ash that took me to Fredericton and Moncton there. What else did I do? I mean, wow. Trying to parlay my name, Jennifer McCreath, trans person, Newfoundlander, marathon runner, trans activist, former politician. There's a lot of interesting things, and when you throw them all together, you get a rather unique person. Token or novelty, perhaps, but sometimes it proves helpful. And just by participating in regular everyday events, I inadvertently raise education and awareness to trans people and trans issues. I got involved with International Trigeminal Neuralgia Day of Awareness. Trigeminal neuralgia. Google it. If you don't know how to spell it, try your best. It's a brutal condition that provides extreme nerve pain in the head, and there's very little research being done by healthcare. ALS, known as Lou Gehrig's disease, went viral this summer with the Ice Bucket Challenge. I took part in that as well, and was glad to do it. I also helped a local cause, the SS Kyle Foundation, one of Newfoundland's best-known steamships from the 20s and 30s. A boat that has run aground and has been sitting in Harbour Grace in the harbor for the past 50 years, I believe. There's some folks trying to raise some money to, I guess, salvage and restore that ship. And we jumped into the freezing cold water and swam out to it in front of a group of 500 people. Had a little festival there. Great to meet Libby and her family and friends who drove all the way from Connecticut to coordinate this event. Trans Day of Remembrance itself, November 20th, I called into VOCM radio station and was deemed a special guest to talk about trans issues. Probably the most fulfilling and rewarding experience for me as a trans person living in Newfoundland was actually to sit back and watch other trans leaders evolve. 7 years ago, it seemed I was the only one here in Newfoundland talking about trans issues. Now we've got multiple trans people taking those leadership roles, getting involved with Pride, doing work over at the university, and even taking our government to court over various human rights pieces of work. And it is great to see that. I hope the trailblazing I have done has made it easier, perhaps, for trans youth to come out and pursue life as they are, trans people. And maybe it's just a little bit easier than it was in 2007. Another thing I did was kind of reconnect with parts of my past. I cleaned out my closet. Literally boxes and boxes in the storage room that had not been opened in 20, 25 years. Really got to revisit my entire life. Some of it was quite emotional doing that. Multiple visits to my former hometowns of Halifax and Black Point, Nova Scotia, Hubbard's, Nova Scotia, as well as Toronto, Ontario. Multiple visits with mom and dad. Parents are starting to reach the twilight. They're seniors. They're retiring or retired, and you never know how much longer they're going to be around. And they've been among my top supporters, and with my transition in my life, and they mean so much to me. And it's great to carry on excellent relationships and rapport with them. Christmas was a little bittersweet. There's still some family members that don't want to have anything to do with me, and it's really sad that they would be so close-minded and ruin the entire family Christmas by just taking an uneducated stance like that. Oh my, what else do I want to talk about? I joined a political party and quit that political party, which seems to be something people in Newfoundland do a lot. There's a lot of party switching. Actually joined the Provincial Progressive Conservative Party for a short period. They were going through a leadership, convention, and there's one particular candidate I supported and thought would be a great leader for this province. And unfortunately, Steve Kent did not win that leadership, and unfortunately, shortly after he lost, the new leader made some controversial decisions in handling what appears to be a potentially corrupt situation with a paving company in Labrador getting perks, as well as even more controversial patronage appointment of someone outside of caucus into a plum cabinet position who may or may not have had other ties and connections to the party. Played a role, and the refusal of this government to allow trans people to change their IDs, something that was proactively done in Alberta and I believe Manitoba, it's enough to let me say, you know what, this isn't for me, this party's not for me. At the same time, while I was there, I was treated well, and I think it's important for all political parties to take note that trans people are people. We're not all just one party or two parties or whatever. All three parties are now, I guess, have trans issues on their radar, and it's no longer as much of a political issue as it perhaps used to be. Sadly, at the federal level, we still got some problems there, and Stephen Harper's got to go. ABC in 2015, and I'm going to have a big announcement. There's going to be yet another political, I think, party where I will be joining in 2015 and pushing. First and foremost, at the federal level, I feel we got to get rid of Stephen Harper, and we'll go into details further. Yeah, not a bad year, I guess. What else do you want to talk about? I don't want to bore you to death with my year. I was a tourist. Saw more parts of Newfoundland with no activism work. Went to Salvage, where they have real sand at the beach. Twillinyeet. I saw Bonavista. We drove the, what's that loop called? Old Perlican. Saw a lot more of Newfoundland this past year that I'd always wanted to see. Again, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I guess as we go into 2015, I'm looking for quality employment that will allow me to, I guess, maximize my potential, and that may force me to leave Newfoundland and end up working somewhere else. Right now, I'm open-minded. Quality of life does matter, though. Having gone back to visit Toronto and even visit parts of Halifax, it stings. Feels like I've got a lot of negative memories and living life in those cities in the past, and perhaps do not want to have to return there. But could be somewhere new. I mean, you never know. It's fun, exciting, and scary when the future is unknown. As Dr. Emmett Brown said at the end of Back to the Future 3, your future hasn't been written yet, so make it a good one. And that's what I plan to do in 2015. Anyway, that's enough of this. Thanks for watching. Jennifer McCreath. Happy New Year, and take care, everyone.